feel like I'm in a dream right now.
Bachelor alum Demi Burnett is defending friend Heather Martin against the backlash she received from joining Matt's season. Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. Demi Burnett has some choice words for the girls who made Heather cry on The Bachelor. But before we get into it, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host, Gabby Gonta, and I'm joined by the lovely Avery Grooms today. Hi, Avery.
Hey, Gabby.
So with 30 plus women vying for one man's heart on The Bachelor, it can get pretty competitive, right? And none of the women are ever too happy when more contestants are added. As we saw in the latest promo for Matt James' upcoming Bachelor season, former Bachelor contestant Heather Martin unexpectedly arrives, and so the drama begins. In a recent interview on the Here for the Right Reasons podcast, Demi Burnett, who's most known for her appearances on Colton's season of The Bachelor, as well as A Bachelor in Paradise, she comes to Heather's defense. Demi said, "I don't talk to Heather all the time, but whenever we do talk, it's all good. We catch right back up to where we were. I absolutely adore her." So we're going to get into everything else Demi had to say here. But first of all, Avery, I want to get your initial thoughts. What did you think of Demi on the previous Bachelor seasons that she was on? And what do you think about her just coming up and standing up, speaking out for her friend?
I think Demi's always been one of like the characters we talk about. She's someone on the show we'll always remember. And even after the show, she's pretty vocal about a lot of things, especially on Twitter. So this didn't surprise me that she came to Heather's defense or even spoke out about this. I just thought it was interesting that they don't talk all the time, but she's still going to have her back. Because I didn't necessarily think this situation was that big of a deal. But at the end of the day, like Demi always has something to say about everything. So I get it.
Exactly. I thought it was interesting that maybe Hannah hasn't said anything yet, because I think she's even closer to Heather than Demi is, but they seem to all know each other from Colton season specifically. So maybe as the season continues and we get a little bit more of Heather on Matt's season, that we'll hear from Hannah Brown and what she thinks about it. Demi thought it was ridiculous for any of the other contestants to be upset with Heather. She continued saying, "They're going to blame Heather, ? Like Heather had anything to do with it. Like Heather said, I want to sabotage the show. Heather's the sweetest girl ever. She would be so helpful." So I'm like, why are you upset about this? This makes no sense. I don't know. It was just immature to me, but we'll see what happens. So what do you think, Avery? Are you on Demi's side? Do you think the contestants are just being immature, or do they really have a reason to be threatened by Heather when she comes on?
I agree with Demi because obviously, as we know, the producers always have a lot of say in everything. And I'm sure this was her or the producer's idea. But Heather did also agree to it. But I think it's a little bit of both when it comes to immaturity and feeling threatened by the contestants. I feel like the contestants shouldn't necessarily be threatened by her because regardless, any girls can come in and threaten their chances with Matt at the end of the day. That's just part of the show. But if anything, I would want to be friends with Heather because she has that prior knowledge of being on the show and they could ask questions. And I don't know, that's kind of cool to have someone who's already experienced this with you. So I don't know. I don't think they should be threatened, but I just get it. When another girl comes on, no one's going to be happy about it.
Yeah, that's such a good point that they could maybe become her friend and actually ask her some advice about being on the show. I'm sure none of them thought about that in the moment. They were just like, oh no, another girl to have to compete with. But if they were thinking a little bit more, they probably would have became friends with Heather. Who knows? Another question for you. So Demi says Heather is a sweet girl, and she probably is. She definitely seems like she is. But do we think maybe just in the heat of the moment of being on the season that she pushes the boundaries and makes some bold moves in order to impress Matt, that maybe that's why the girls don't really like her?
I'm not sure. It's a little too soon to say. I think the bold move ultimately was her just showing back up on the show to be a contestant again. And I think that's the ultimate threat to the girls. But from Colton season, she didn't really seem like the type of girl to be like that. She's not that aggressive. I don't see her going out of her way to do anything out of the norm. So I think she'll just play it safe, play the game of the show. But I don't see her making any bold moves that might upset the girls because Heather's always been a sweet, likable girl.
Very true. And if we remember back from the promo clip, one of the other women, there's a clip of her crying and she says,
"You already had your shot at a Bachelor, go home."
you already had your chance on The Bachelor, and she's referring to Heather there. And then we see another clip of Heather crying. So Demi commented on this moment in the podcast, and she said, I've never seen her cry before, and I'm really concerned about who I'm going to have to beat up. She jokes that if it's Matt James the one who, made her upset and broke her heart, that she might not be able to take him on because he's huge and she's pretty tiny. But she said she'd give him a talking to if that was the case. So we know Demi is small but mighty. So what do you think of her just being ready to confront anyone that has an issue with Heather?
I feel like that's such a Demi move. I thought it was funny. And I don't think anyone's necessarily out to get Heather or to hurt her feelings, but I think like the tables have kind of turned. She's kind of not even the villain, but the girls are going to look at her like that just because of like her situation and the timing of her coming on the show. But I'm interested to see how it all plays out for her.
I agree. And I think it's also interesting that during the podcast, Demi actually commented on the fact that she thinks a reason Heather was on the show, just like the producer Robert Mills said earlier this week, was due to, wanting to find her husband and that they have really similar religious beliefs. So she thinks that's what really drew her to Matt James and really encouraged her to go after him in the season. So just final thoughts on Heather, how far she's going to go. Do you think Matt is going to appreciate her because of those religious similarities, or is that what they're going to be able to bond on, but maybe they're not like soulmates? What do you think about their connection and how everything's going to play out?
That makes a lot of sense, like why she was drawn to him even more. And I think she just had the advantage of already being on the show. So she had those connects to like be able to walk back up on the show and participate in it. But based off the promo and Matt saying like, this feels like a dream or something, I don't know if that's like a good thing or bad thing. So depending on what that means, maybe she'll leave that same day or stay for a little while longer. But I, for some reason, just don't see her making it to the end of this because I feel like if it was meant to be, it would have happened before this. I'm not sure, but I don't see her going far. Love the girl, but that's how I feel.
Exactly. And if it doesn't work out, of course, there's always future seasons of The Bachelor, Bachelor in Paradise, and other places where we can see these familiar faces who didn't necessarily find love this time around. All right, you guys, that's all we have to share with you today in Bachelor news. But of course, we want to know your thoughts. So let us know down in the comments. What did you think about what Demi had to say about Heather? And what are your predictions for Heather being on the show? How far is she going to go? Are her and Matt a cute couple? Let us know. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future Bachelor videos. We'll be here all season. I'm Gabby Gonta, and I was joined by Avery Grooms today. You can follow us at our social handles. They're on the screen right now. Come say hi. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.